do 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 do. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Merriment Mondays. Mitzi likes it when I sing. Or she hates it. We haven't really figured that out yet, but she always comes running when I sing. So I can't tell if it's to get me to stop or because she wants to play and join in. It remains to be seen. Hello. Welcome. Mitzi, do you want to say hi? You want to come say hi? You want to come say hi? She's been my little buddy extra lately. Okay, so today we're going to talk about radical self-love, and I'm excited. This is something that we've talked about in the Uncustomary Universe for a long, long time. And first, let's get us going. Let's get started. Let's get my necklace fixed up, this little smiley face guy. And let's start talking about our magical merriment moments. What have you gotten to experience this week? The past 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since I've seen you. We're doing this bi-weekly now. And what are you grateful for? What have you seen? What have you gotten to experience? What's been really wonderful in your life lately? Like there's new colors happening in my hair. Look at all these like fun fades. These fun fades. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's a different setup back here. I took the backdrop down because now it doesn't look so crazy back here. I actually organized all of these all of the boxes, all of the crates. Look at all that. It looks great. It looks great. The crates look great, don't they? The crates look great. That's something that's a magical merriment moment for me. And let me show you some others. So I got to see this really cool gold emblem that was kind of like placard onto a building, and it said, "I will be more." Oh, you do want to say hello. Okay. You do want some screen time? Yes. There's a Mitzi. Yeah. Yeah, you've been right by my side. We've been doing a lot of crafting lately. We've been doing a lot of journaling. We've been doing a lot of making Valentines. We've been making a lot of mail. We've been doing a lot of art, a lot more stuff with our hands lately. And Mitzi's all over it. All over it. Yes, thank you so much for your presence. We appreciate you. And other things that you're seeing scrolling. So I saw that I will be more. I thought that was so beautiful. I just love like how gold it was. And I also, on that same street I'm showcasing here, Howard Street used to just be, well, it used to be longer ago, a wonderful, beautiful architecture, buzzing businesses and things. And now it's unfortunately, it got into this place of just kind of like decay and like unfortunately a lot of places in Baltimore just really nothing, and it was covered in not really that fun graffiti, and just had that feeling of real abandon and unoccupiedness. And then there were also well, now I guess it's kind of like coming up again. There's people that are taking over some art spaces. There's this place called Current. There's this place called Mondo. And I see people actively spray painting in ways like this that look so cool. And they're just taking pride in Howard Street again. And I'm really happy about that because it's just like a wonderful place of beautiful original architecture from Baltimore. And then these rainbow bears that I saw at the store, they like look like gummy bears and they're just in a rainbow, and I just thought that was just absolutely lovely. So I would love to know what you're grateful for this week. What were your magical merriment moments? Share them in the chat, share them even later in the comments in the replay. I love to see it. Okay, what else? So good news. We all love to hear about good news. And Okay, so for me, for my good news, let me tell you that my this whole month has been a crazy situation. I've mentioned it here and there with my house. We've had multiple floods, we've had the heat failure, we've had leaks. I even tripped and fell, and I had this bump over here on the side of my head, and like I had a gash open. I have this like horrible bruise. You might not. No, it's not gonna work for me to be able to see it. It's a big old bruise, purple now, and landlord doesn't seem to care. Thought we had a good relationship, but it's all right. It's all right. Just seems like landlords are not really in my world, not really that compassionate. So that's okay. And we'll just continue to be our compassionate selves as we move forward in life. But I am grateful that the heat is working now, that I don't have to restart it on my own, that the sink is working, that the dishwasher is working, and that our stuff is working in the house. And another really good piece of news is, let me show you this. So I tend to batch a bunch of my performance and street art all at once just because it's easier to do. And one of the fun things that I did this past weekend was I went out with a sign that said free hugs. And, I actually really felt like maybe it was kind of creepy, or maybe it had that vibe of like somebody at a festival that's just like kind of walking around. And I don't know, I think I had a preconceived notion that maybe it wasn't going to be received well. Like once I was already out there, I was just like, oh, maybe this isn't going to be a good thing. Maybe this looks desperate or something. And I walked around for a while, and some people smiled at me, some people avoided eye contact. That's like pretty normal for stuff that I do anyway. But then um everything switched. Like if you do something for long enough, people will eventually react. And one of my favorite interactions was with this guy Dale, and he was so wonderful. He just kind of told me that he lives alone, and he has his dog, Marquetta. That's the dog's name. And she's a rescue, and she doesn't really like other dogs, but she likes him. And he lives alone, and he misses having physical contact. And he's like, no, I'm not trying to be creepy. And I was like, no, like we all need physical contact. And, I've read that we need like 4 hugs a day. And even though I live with Matt, sometimes we don't even touch all day. It's like we're just running around doing stuff, and then we'll end up like sitting side by side on the couch or even further away on the couch, and I'm like doing my own thing and he's doing his own thing. And it's silly, like even though I have access to physical touch, like I don't take advantage of it. And I gave him a hug, and he was like, everybody said that I gave really good hugs, and I thought that was nice. And I don't know, I thought I really appreciated his honesty and candidness with why he wanted a hug, and he just like saw an opportunity and he took it. Like he could have just seen me doing that and been like, I want that, and walked past it, right? But everybody that I interacted with said yes to life in that moment, and everyone I said, I really appreciate you participating in life today. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like every single time that I do something on the street, whether you are taking something off of a board that I've written, or taking a picture, or dancing with me, or whatever it is, that's good news to me. It's all good news. It is you saying yes to life. You could have absolutely walked by, you could have walked by. And even if you really, really wanted it, but you said yes, even if you're smiling at me and not ignoring me, that's participating in life. And I really, really appreciate that. And that's good news. And we had like a really nice talk. I always hug people offering free hugs. You rock. Thanks. I don't think I've ever really done it. I think I've seen people with a sign at like a festival or stuff. I used to burn. God, the light does this sometimes and it drives me nuts. I'm so sorry. It's distracting. We've tried to fix it, and just sometimes it does that. I like to think that it's just me being too bright to be handled. But, apparently light actually does flicker like that. We just don't perceive it. like when we're just existing, light actually does do this constantly. And we don't notice it because we're like so used to it. But when we look at it through a screen, it's a little bit easier for us to perceive. And that's how we notice it sometimes because of different levels and stuff. So that's why that happens sometimes. I think sometimes it happens if I get too far or because I have lights up, and it's just so fascinating why it does it sometimes and it doesn't do it other times. And I don't know, but I know it's distracting, and I apologize. But yeah, I've never actually gone up to somebody else, but I really did appreciate that people participated it with me. So it's a bit of a hypocrisy as well, right? But it is also something that I don't know, I never felt like I needed. And I will do other things too. So okay. Oh, and here's a good news story from the world. Here's a good news story from the world. So there was a grocery worker at what looks like to be a Dollar Tree. Here, let me move this. It's like over here. And they said grocery worker, but that definitely looks like a Dollar Tree. Either way, there was a mom, and she had a kid with her, and the kid was like screaming and just like inconsolable, and that happens sometimes, right? And the mom like was having a really hard time and just like really stressed out, and the worker, the register person working was like, hey, see, it's doing it again. Hey, do you want to the kid, do you want to help me scan the items? And the kid was like, ooh. And then the kid like started helping to scan and calm down. And one, I think that's another like thing about participating in life, like can we actively participate? Can we look at something that's interesting, something that's new, something that's novel, and engage, right? Because sometimes it's about like a distraction, something that's interesting. And then also such a compassionate story instead of like, because I absolutely used to be the person that's like, just like, don't bring your kid here. Truly. Like I mean, I still think that about like movies or something, like get a babysitter for the movie, you know? Um, but there's certain places like you're gonna need to bring your kid to, and the child is a child, and they're going to experience all emotions, and for us to try to dampen those and tell them to shh because we're uncomfortable or annoyed is going to have a much longer effect on the child than it is for our comfort at that moment. So every time that we tell a child to shush, means that they are not supposed to feel. And I mean, yeah, it's really annoying to hear screaming, obviously, but also we are telling them to not experience their full range of life and feelings and personality because we're uncomfortable. And that is not something that you want to be told, and you'll eventually need therapy. So that's something that I had to work on just as a person. And I didn't need kids to learn that either. That's just something like as working on self-love and understanding the full complexity of emotion, that I understand we shouldn't be doing that to anyone, especially children. And also it's hard to, I mean, I can't even speak to being a parent, but it's hard to have a kid, and it's not really something that we're really, I don't think, supposed to do alone. And when you're out with like having a child and that's something you're trying to do, and then also trying to shop or trying to drive or trying to do anything else, it's a lot of things you have to do. And having other people participate in their care, even if it is just like a small distraction, then I think that is really helpful. It's meant to be a community experience, a tribe, a village, whatever you want to call it. And anytime that you can engage in that, I think that's really great. There's a pep talk here on my YouTube that's part of my Happy 2024 challenge that was free. And you can get much more benefit if you join into the Jumpstart Your Joy Facebook group. There's more content in there from the resources in there from the challenge, but you can get like the lessons and stuff here on YouTube. It's all like one playlist. But my point is there is a pep talk on there that talks about like, I hope you come back to what you love. I hope that you let yourself celebrate what it is that you love. And I know that, sometimes I'll see a kid. I cite in that pep talk an example of a kid that one time I saw in a thrift store, and he was so jazzed about everything, but very specifically bugs. Anything he saw with a bug, he was like, bugs, and he was like just bugs. Like, he was so excited, man. He was so excited. And anytime he saw it, he was just like screaming. And his mom was trying to find some clothes. I can't imagine all the hats that she's got. She had multiple kids. She had somebody else with her. She was like, and she was also distressed. She was telling a story that was not fun, and she's got her kid yelling. And when you're just looking at the child, you want to be like, let him celebrate these bugs, let him be excited about the bugs. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you look at the mom and you look at the whole person, you're like, she's stressed as hell, man. Like, she's having a really hard time. And I used to only be able to look at the kid and be like, screw this parent. Like, how dare you not be able to give everything to your child at this moment? And now I'm able to see more of the context. And that being said, like, yes, all things need to happen. Like, the mom needs to take care of herself and the kid needs to be celebrated. It's not either or, it's both. And which comes first? Like, I mean, the mom kind of needs to come first so that the child can be celebrated, right? Like, it's putting your mask on first, and that's literally what we're here to talk about today. But sometimes, like, if she hasn't been able to put her mask on first and that kid is drowning too, and I'm there, then, and I'm not drowning at all, or I can breathe too, like, I can kind of swoop in and come into the aisle and say, like, hey, bugs are really cool, man. Bugs are super cool. And I can be that, like, crazy stranger aunt person who is aunt. That's a bug too. I meant aunt, like uncle aunt. Like that aunt energy of aunt. Some people say aunt. Vase vase. Okay, let's focus. That aunt energy of, I'm not here to mom you. I'm here to mentor you in this fun little way of just this moment to remind you that I'm not even going to bring up your mom that's stressed, but I am going to remind you that what you are excited about is okay. And hopefully your mom de-stresses and she reminds you too. But there's also a chance that your mom is the kind of person that won't ever remind you. We have plenty of parents that won't ever validate who you are as a person, and we have to find that validation in ourselves. But if we can be the people in the store aisles that see other people who don't understand yet how to validate themselves, how to find that what is in them is what they already need, everything that's in them is what they already need. Especially children, especially people that don't get it yet, that haven't been taught that don't have that understanding yet, then you're allowed to give a positive affirmation, a smile, a compliment, a reminder, a nod, anything. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not trying to say that we need to parent other people. I'm saying sometimes parenting is a group effort, and also so is life. And we are all maybe responsible for the collective uprising of our worth. Like, we ultimately want to understand that validation doesn't come from anything external. It does come from within, but sometimes we need the understanding, the theoretical permission that it does come from within, because we have been taught so far that it comes from somewhere else. So once you're the person that comes in and says, oh no, it's okay. You don't have to get that from somewhere else. You can get it from in here. Things can shift again. You come back to the remembering of who you were. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we did merriment making, gratitude moments. We did this just in, good news. I also want to invite you to a free Valentine's workshop. So this is about how to be your own Valentine. So this is whether or not you are in a relationship or you are partner. It has nothing to do with that. This is about self-love. So I mean, if you don't have any plans on Valentine's Day, this will be a great way to solidify that and put something on the calendar, because I know that sometimes there is like a lot of pressure for what are we going to do on that day. So this isn't like on a weekend, this is on the day of Valentine's Day, and it is what I'm calling the perfect self-love ritual. And it's just a combination of things. So it's not just me talking, it is a bunch of stuff. So we are going to do, I'm going to tell you about how to have a healthy relationship with yourself and how to cultivate unconditional self-love. I'm going to talk to you about ways to celebrate love that aren't romantic. And I'm going to teach you about how to plan solo dates and what those are. And I have like ideas for you about those 50 ideas. And then we're going to do like actual activities together too. It's not just me talking at you. Okay. So that's why it's a workshop. So there's heart chakra activating activities. There's a DIY tutorial, and you're going to get a supply list of what you need to bring. It's all pretty cheap stuff you can get at the Dollar Tree. We're going to have intention creating. I'm going to do a live guided EFT tapping to call in more self-love. There's bonus PDFs that you'll get. So it's interactive, and it's a really great way to call in Valentine's Day, self-love, set the tone for self-love, and just feel activated. So you can get that. You can register your spot for free at uncustomary.org/Valentine workshop, or you can just find it on uncustomary.org under freebies. Okay, so also, if you are not subscribed, please like, subscribe, share. You can like the chat, you can like the video, you can heart anything and share and subscribe to anything that you see on YouTube. It helps, it helps, it helps. And also you can follow me on Instagram at Merriment Maker. Okay, so let's get more into this week's topic. We've actually kind of already started talking about it. And just by like deviating into the good news. So what's the point of practicing self-love? I believe that it is to have a deeper understanding of who we are, why we're here, and ultimately to prioritize our own happiness so that we can be happy and spread joy. Will the workshop be recorded? Yes. There's a replay, but you need to sign up to get the replay. So if self-love is the key to happiness, which I think it is, part of it, I think self-love and spreading joy are the key to happiness, then we need to understand what happiness is to move further. And I talk more about what happiness is in my book, the Merriment Making book. And you can get that PDF version when you sign up in the Merriment Makers, or you can buy that individually. But I think, I don't know, self-love kind of feels like a fad almost. It did. We can trace self-love back to the ancient Greeks, actually. Aristotle listed it as one of the 6 main types of love. And there's all these cliches of not being able to fully love another person until you love yourself, or finding out that the person you need to care for, forgive, and accept along the way the whole time was you. They're timeless classics for a reason, though. You know, we come programmed with self-love, but it gets combed out of us by the fear of other adults who have had their own self-love combed out of them through larger institutions like media, religions, societal norms, all these things. And self-love is really just this humongous topic, which is why people, including myself, get their 10,000 hours in the topic and become experts as much as they can, even though it's a lifelong, infinite game that cannot be won. And the main thing to remember is that we are in a relationship with ourselves. And treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and acceptance is like the way that you would to the person that you love the most outside of yourself is the best way to practice self-love and to live your life. To not really just make excuses for everyone else except you, to not have compassion for everyone else except you, to not believe everyone else is special just except you, to not celebrate everyone else except you. Like, you are people too, you know? And self-love is also, I created this definition like almost 10 years ago, a concept, a feeling, and an action all at the same time. So it's a concept where you approach your life with the notion that you are an important and unique individual. You have innate value, that's independent of your physical appearance, and that you believe that you deserve to have a beautiful life. You accept who you are as is, even if you have areas of your life that you'd like to improve or evolve in. And self-love is a feeling where you experience the sensation of being enough, the embodiment of that feeling. And we talk more about that in the embodiment, reconnecting to your body module that can be accessed in the Feel Good Troop and the Merriment Makers. Self-love is a feeling where you feel beautiful, worthy, and empowered on a regular basis. You recognize these feelings aren't narcissistic because it's reasonable to want the best for yourself. It's being appreciative of who you are and your talents and your physical body and your lifestyle and your choices. And then self-love is an action where you take steps to put yourself first. You create routines for self-care and you implement them with priority and urgency. You say no to things that don't work for you, and you say yes to things that do work for you in the highest regard. You have boundaries while maintaining compassion, and you follow your dreams because you believe in yourself. Putting yourself first also allows you to be in the moment and to be helpful to other people. In self-love, I think we can get a little confused because self-love is such a large umbrella term. Sometimes when you look at people talking about self-love, they will angle it towards compassion. Sometimes they'll angle it towards self-esteem or confidence or body positivity. And none of these are wrong. These are all just like, it's like this umbrella and there's little subsections. So self-confidence is like a subsect of self-love. Gratitude is a subsect of self-love. You see, like, all of these things are a part of what makes self-love a thing. So you can't really identify what self-love is other than this relationship with yourself where you prioritize having self-respect. What I just read to you, what I just told you about self-love being a concept, a feeling, and an action, that's the best that I can do in terms of determining what it is that self-love entails. In terms of tangible activities, it depends on what it is you are prioritizing, what it is that you want to, quote, work on, what it is that you feel you want to enhance or feel is out of balance, or you want to nurture, or you want to take care of. What's important to you. And it gets a little sticky because a lot of those terms and those energies come from a place of not necessarily productivity, but improvement, you know? So that self-improvement merges with self-love, and we get into this place of like, I want to work on myself. And like I said, following your dreams because you believe in yourself is paramount. Because if you have this esteem, that means you care about yourself, you believe that it's possible. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, you won't have dreams. And that is meaning that you don't love yourself enough, right? But if all you're doing is saying that you need to do more constantly, that you're never settled, that you're never satisfied, that you're never content, that you're never enough, then it's not really ambition that you have. It's a lack of esteem. It's a lack of worthiness. And that therein lies the rub. So if you can hold two conflicting ideas at once that aren't necessarily conflicting, but opposing, of acceptance and improvement, of even changing improvement to evolution, of progression, of whatever word floats you at that time, and prioritize acceptance above all. That is where self-love really gets good. The acceptance and compassion for oneself in self-love is the juice that makes this umbrella term of self-love different than the self-esteem or the confidence or the body love or whatever it is. It's actually not even what makes it different. It's what sets the tone for the rest of it. So acceptance and compassion is a lack of judgment. It's a lack of critique. It's a lack of comparison. And if you can look, observe, and be with the things that we were listing earlier of your essence, your talents, your body, your lifestyle, your choices, the parts of you, if you cannot judge them, if you can be with them, if you cannot critique them, if you cannot compare them, that is self-love at its, I believe, actualization point. You're exalting self-love when you have reached a state of mindfulness with your essence. And just like meditation or any other mindfulness act, there's always going to be creeping thoughts, the monkey brain, the part of us that has the negativity bias, that has the ADHD floating, all of the things, because judgment isn't bad. There's nothing really that is good or bad. It just is. But when we're looking at self-love, we want to pull down these things as much as possible, because nothing good comes from shame. It's a very low vibration. And when we try to motivate ourselves from shame, it doesn't stick. When we try to motivate ourselves from love and acceptance and non-judgment and peace, that's when you actually really understand who you are. So it's basically like, I don't know, sometimes it's easier to do it with something physical because we're so visual as creatures. So let's say, let's use something physical. Let's use my face. Let's use my little mark, my mole, my beauty mark, whatever this is on my face. I personally have no feelings about it. If anything, I feel more positive towards it. Um, but let's say that I didn't. Let's say that I hate it and I can't stop looking at it. I try to cover it up with makeup, right? And that's where I'm at with it. I can't. I'm very pre-focused on it. So self-love, and remember, the body positivity is like a subsect of it where we kind of just like apply these theories, these methods, these concepts to it. So it would be like, I need to move up the scale, the spectrum of where I'm at, which is currently like hating it, just utter preoccupation and judgment with it, right? I mean, and where is that judgment coming from? It's coming from the belief that it shouldn't be there, which is based on a comparison to other people's faces who don't have it. And maybe those people that I'm looking at are people that I admire, people that have things that I want, whatever, people that I believe that are beautiful based on other people telling me that they're beautiful. And you can do this with anything, right? This can be with something that you want to have, like a physical house, or a a talent, or a a way that you lived your life that you wish you could get back, or um a personality trait, like anything about yourself you can do this with. So you feel free to, as I go through this, apply to yourself. So this little mark, and I'm like, oh, I can't stop looking at it, and I'm judging it. And my first note is to acknowledge the fact that I'm doing that. Like, okay, well, I'm that seems to be something that I'm putting a lot of effort into, buying stuff to cover it up with. I'm wasting time in the mirror doing it, looking at it, scrutinizing it, trying to pop it or something. I don't know. And acknowledging like how much effort is going into that already, that could be part of it. Thinking about what I could do instead. Thinking about just being, I think first being as logical as possible helps us, you know, being as logical as you can be with like, what am I doing? How long is it taking? Is this something that I want to do? Is, if someone else was doing this, would I tell them that this was ideal? You know, if you flip it on someone else, if you flip it on your best friend, if they had this exact same thing, what would you tell them? I always like to think about the episode of Scrubs where Turk has diabetes, and he um he won't accept that he has it even though he has all the symptoms. He's a doctor. And then somebody comes in and they're like, hey, I have this client or this patient, and he has this symptom, this symptom, this symptom, this symptom. And she just describes Turk's symptoms to him, and she's like, what would you diagnose him with? He's like, easy, diabetes. And he goes, oh, like he realizes. So if you just kind of remove yourself from it as a thought exercise, and you place it down like, what am I doing? Then it might be easier for you to like diagnose what it is that you're doing. But awareness is one of the biggest issues, or starting points. It can be really difficult. It's like putting on your shoes to get out the door to go on the walk, right? It's the hardest part of the inertia because it takes a little bit of humbling to notice like what is it that I'm doing, because you're admitting something. You're admitting that maybe you're not loving yourself the way that you could be. So then moving towards it, it's kind of like exposure therapy. It's like, how could I love myself just a little bit more? What would it look like to be with this without covering it up with makeup? Or what are some examples of people who have moles on their face or even moles near their eyes? What are um, what are some reasons why this might even be considered beautiful? Like, find examples of cultures where this was revered. Find examples in nature of polka dots where this is beautiful, or I don't know. Um, this is the kind of stuff that we get into more in master classes and stuff, but this is the kind of step-by-step thing where you can move yourself from hatred and judgment over into acceptance. And it's not an overnight situation. It's not. And anybody that tells you that you can tap once on your face or meditate once and then it's like fixed, I am proud and amazed if that happens for you. Go for you. Like, that's fantastic. But that's usually not how things work, because they're embedded in us and you have to do things more than once. Multiple more than once. So there are many ways that you can use techniques that are reframing techniques to kind of reprogram how you feel about something. Tapping is one of them, meditating is one of them, journaling is one of them, mirror work and affirmations and different kinds of things that I teach in the Merriment Makers and the Feel Good Troop are things like that. But it's about having, the idea is moving from the judgment and the critique and the comparison towards how to be at peace with it. And this is what I was going to say. So if I have this mole on my face and I'm going to cut it off or something, and I'm doing that because I hate it, that's doing something from shame. That's doing something motivated by critique and comparison and judgment and all the noise. And I'm not really making a clear decision. But if I love this mole and I'm at a complete place of no noise, no interference, only acceptance, only love for it, I look at that and I see nothing but uniqueness and myself and celebration. And then I still, for whatever reason, want to do something with it. Cut it off, add one, tattoo it, color it. It can only be coming from a place of like childlike intrinsic desire to play with it. And that's what you want. But most of the time, when you get to that place, you won't want to remove anything about yourself. You'll only want to enhance it. The chopping off part won't come. You might want to decorate it, but you won't ever really want to remove a part of yourself. You'll only want to celebrate it. And that's what I believe about self-love. That's what I believe about merriment making, is that we aren't here to remove our personalities, our natural weirdness. We're here to exalt and enhance them. So the same way that we kind of started this out with like the kid in the store who was really excited about bugs. There's a timeline where he is told like, it's not time to be excited about bugs. You have to go to work. We don't have any money. You need to stop being so frivolous about bugs and you need to go get a job. Or there's a time where everybody tells him that bugs are stupid and he's a nerd and he gets bullied. And there's so many different ways where he loses his passion for bugs, right? And then my job is to meet you where you are, wherever you are, however old you are, with whatever has happened, and tell you that what you like is still cool, and it always was. And the only thing that happened was an interference of people who were afraid of living their own exalted, enhanced experience, told you that it wasn't okay. And sometimes that was from survival and they didn't know any better, and that's all okay. And everybody did the best with what they could. But now it's time to celebrate bugs again. And sometimes I get to intervene at the store in the moment, and the timeline doesn't change. And that kid goes on to be a bugologist or whatever that's called. And he lives exactly in alignment with whatever he wants that makes him happy. And sometimes I meet you when you're 65, retired from a job that you hated, and you remember how much you love bugs and you want to paint them now. And I'm really excited to do that. But that's what I'm here to do, among other things, like celebrate good news and make weird art. And I want you to know that the quicker you can not judge yourself from what you love, or compare or worry about past people, parents, bullies, teachers that said that what you like is weird or whatever, and just start. Because here's the thing, you're going to get made fun of no matter what you do, so you might as well enjoy it. And start practicing compassion and peace and ease and comfort and love for yourself. Everything will get a little easier, and then a lot easier. And then you get to be present for the things that you love to do, and you get to then spread joy to other people, and the merriment making cycle continues. So there's plenty of ways to bust through these, like limiting feelings, beliefs, whatever. And I teach those modalities in the Merriment Makers. And there's a simplified access in the Feel Good Troop that's much more inexpensive. And yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that you're worthy, and I love you, all you weirdos. So here are 10 things you can do to celebrate yourself today. You can write yourself a love letter and mail it to yourself. You can spend the day having fun instead of being productive. You can create a new loving affirmation for yourself and then write it on your mirror with a dry erase marker. You can list 3 goals you have and say them in the past tense as if they have already happened. And now make a plan on how to start them because you believe in yourself. You can pick or buy yourself flowers or a balloon or chocolate. You can take a long walk to wander and really look at things and play. You can drink half your body weight in ounces of water, really hydrate yourself. You can unplug from social media and technology for 24 hours. When's the last time you did that? You can dance for the entire length of a song. You can list 10 things you're grateful for. And here are 5 affirmations. I have all that I need already inside of me. Okay, it says OBS Studio reconnection. So I hope this. Is it? Okay, I think it's back on. I'm gonna read the affirmations one more time just in case that didn't take, because I don't know what's happening. It like disconnected twice. I have all that I need inside of me already. I nourish myself so I can flourish. I am worth taking time for. I am the architect of my future. It's not too good to be true because I am good and I am true. And your homework is, how do you already love and appreciate? And that's from my Merriment Making Missions deck. You can get this on my website, uncustomary.org. And the card that I drew for self-love is to list things you love about yourself. So that can also be some of your homework. And here are the homework questions. I'm going to put those in the chat as well because this internet is just rude. And who knows what is happening. Okay, well, I love you. I'm glad I waited till the end to crap out. Make sure you sign up for the How to Be Your Own Valentine workshop. Get your supply list and all the information for that. You can do that at uncustomary.org/Valentine workshop, or you can find everything you need to know at uncustomary.org. If you want more information on self-love, I have about a decade's worth, and we've got over 1,000 resources in the Merriment Makers. And yeah, I'd love to see you in there. You can get that information on uncustomary.org as well. And if you have missed it, the Feel Good Troop is out now, and it's basically like a condensed version of the Merriment Making method with just master classes and a mental health audio program and a quarterly masterclass of mental health on mental health and Q&A and live group coaching every 6 weeks. So it's just a much simpler option of a membership, and you still are basically just getting access to like the meat of the Merriment Making method with a focus on mental health. And yeah, let's see. And you can also take a cool quiz now that tells you what kind of merriment archetype you are. So sorry for all this like weird tech stuff at the end. That's how my January's been going. And if this didn't go, list things you love about yourself. This is at my part of my Merriment Making Missions deck. Okay, this was fun. I love talking about self-love. Go love yourselves, and I love you. You have to feel good to do good. And next, in 2 weeks from now, our next one will be on February 12th. So just 2 days before our Valentine's workshop. That'll be our next Merriment Mondays live, and we'll be talking about body love.